Hey, it's Mike. And I want to take a look at ARK Innovation ETF, stock symbol ARKK. For you're probably already familiar, this is Kathy Wood's pretty much the flagship ETF from ARK Innovation. And I just wanted to show you how ARK Innovation ETF, ARKK, has performed against the S&P 500 because there's some surprising insights that you can find when you compare this against the S&P 500 benchmark. So as you probably already assume, the ARK Innovation ETF um, has blown away the S&P 500. This is a chart going as far back as uh, December 31st of 2014 up until today. And as you can look up here, if you had put $10,000 in ARK when it was started about 5 years ago, you'd have $48,000 with an average annual return of about 31.82%. Its best year was up 87%. Its worst year was only down 2% with a max drawdown of 22.77%. Now you compared that to the S&P 500, which has done really well. The S&P 500 has almost doubled in the past 5 years. If you put 10,000 in late December of 2014, you have $18,000 with an average rate of return of 10.99%. Its best year, the S&P 500 was up 31%. Its worst year was down 4.5%, and its max drawdown of almost 20%. So you can definitely see the incredible outperformance. But I want to show you something that was really interesting because also this website here is Portfolio Visualizer, and you can backtest, basically your portfolio against the S&P 500 or one portfolio against another portfolio against a third portfolio. But I want to show you basically the year-to-year performance of ARK Innovation and the S&P 500. Now, in year 2015, the first full year that ARK could compete against the S&P 500, you see ARK did outperform 3.75% versus 1.25% in 2015. Then if you look at 2016, ARK Innovation underperformed the S&P 500. ARK was down 2% while Vanguard was up. The S&P 500 was up 11.82%. But then 2017, you saw some incredible outperformance because the S&P 500 had a strong year, was up 21.67%, but the ARK Innovation was up 87.34%. Then you follow 2017 with 2018 was kind of a rough year. The ARK Innovation was up 3.5%, while the S&P 500 was down 4.5%. 2019, you almost had similar performance. It was a big year for stocks. The S&P 500 was up 31.33, while the ARK Innovation was up 35%. And then finally, 2020, which has been a very, very volatile year for the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is up 5.5%, while ARK Innovation is up 83%. So I thought that was interesting because you did have 1 year where ARK Innovation underperformed the S&P 500, and you have another year here where it performed almost as well. Actually, you've had 2 years where it's performed almost as well, but the two outlier years was 2017 and 2020. Now, will ARK Innovation be able to continue like this incredible outperformance? I think it actually can, because I do think that the S&P 500 is going to underperform during the 2020s. In fact, I think the 2020s are going to see a lot of great performance from commodities. I think it's going to be a commodities decade, and you're going to see underperformance from the S&P 500. However, because ARK Innovation is an actively managed ETF, you can have a lot of very smart people who are going to be nimble enough to do some outperformance on the S&P 500. So I definitely would, if you don't have the time to sort of research stocks all the time, the ARK Innovation ETF, ARKK, looks like it could be the way to go. I think next year it may revert back to the mean because it's hard, it's hard to follow up an 87% performance with another big year. So you may get a little bit of a pullback in 2021, but I think going forward, there are a lot of smart people work there, and they'll be able to find those disruptive, innovative companies that have allowed that stock to really thrive. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like on it and go ahead, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I do multiple updates on stocks in the stock market, as well as option plays. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.